Come on in, friends, to another thrilling episode of So We Live in a School. I'm flying solo tonight in the temporary studio here. Dog didn't even want to come in here, so basically, we're kind of gonna talk about the power of tongue. You know, you have the power of your tongue. You can have life, death. You do all kinds of stuff with the power of your tongue. There's a lot of good verses in Proverbs. We'll talk about a few. I give you a couple examples of stuff that's not only happened to us, but people I know. And we'll go from there. Probably kind of short. I don't have anybody to joke with. Like I said, the dog didn't even want to come in here. I don't even know where he is. I think he's sleeping. So, yeah, we'll hit it with that. Maybe tomorrow or the next day if it's not raining, before we go down to Madison for a night. I'll try to get a video up about what we did the past couple days I was off. Got a lot of stuff done, so we'll go from there. But anyway, yeah, power of the tongue. So we'll go from there. And this isn't like, this isn't the name it and claim it type deal, anything like that. This is the words you speak have power, whether it's good or bad. So you got to keep that in mind. Like, you don't want to be going around like, oh, this job is going to kill me, or my back's killing me, or this or that. Because eventually, those words will come to pass. And unless you want to die young or soon, probably not a good idea to keep claiming or speaking those words into existence. There was a guy who used to work at, used to come in the place I worked before, and he used to come in complaining about this job that, to him, he said it sucked. The owner was a pain in the ass, and he just kept saying, this job's going to kill me, this job's going to kill me. And unfortunately, he passed away before he could finish it. Now, whether some people on the outside looking in, whether you're a Christian or not, could go, well, just because he said that, it doesn't mean it came to pass. You know, but other people, you can go, yeah, you speak it enough over your life, it's going to come to pass. And we've had to change things up in our own lives, because when you get that revelation that what you're speaking is starting to come to fruition or coming to pass, it's a real eye-opener. Like when Tristan was younger, I used to call him a lazy slob because his room was always a disaster and it didn't seem like he had the motivation to do anything. And it wasn't until at one point Billy Sue was like, you got to stop saying that, speaking that over him, because it's going to come true. And when you get that revelation or somebody points that out to you, it's a real eye-opener. So instead of saying, you know, he's a lazy slob, he's an ambitious, clean person. You know, not that you're going to just say that because that's a mouthful, but you get the hint. Don't speak things you don't want to come into existence. And like I said, this job's killing me, my back's killing me, whatever. This is going to be the death of me. Things like that. Or I always get sick. I always get the flu. I can't eat such and such because it gives me gas or the runs or makes me sick. All those negative things eventually have an effect on you. Like if you say, oh, I get the flu every year, you're going to get the flu every year. You know, and another thing that came to mind in my life was whenever I get the flu shot, I get sick. So that was one of those, well, I don't believe in the flu shot anyway, and to each his own on that. But it's one of those, it's like, wow, I don't, because for a while we had to get them, or I got them, and I always got sick, and it wasn't until later on when I stopped getting it that it's one of those things. It's like I spoke that into existence over myself. And when you get to that, you kind of have to repent and go, God, forgive me for speaking my helper isn't here. But, speaking sickness and disease over my own body. At the time, I didn't think of it. I was just going by what was in front of me and not going, well, I don't have to settle for that. So, and there's been other things that, when you get the revelation, and it could just be, something like this video here going, you got to watch what you say over your life and over your kids and family or people you love, that you're not speaking something over them or into their lives that is going to hurt them or affect them later on down the road. Even your pets, you can say, oh, dumb dog, you're never going to amount to anything, and you're going to end up with a dumb dog that don't amount to nothing. Or you can say he's a good boy, or, you listen, or this and that, and you're the smartest dog that ever lived. And chances are he's not going to be the smartest dog that ever lived, but a semi-smart dog's better than a dumb dog, right? But anyway, that's where we're at. Let's see if I can remember which verses in here that I really liked, and then try to find them. I wrote them down, and I'll put them in the description at the end, so you can, because I'm not going to read all of them. There was like 22 of them. You can do that on your own time. Let's see, I guess we'll start with whatever I can open up the book to. So, one of the good ones that I saw when I was looking into this, because God put this on my heart the beginning of the week, that, we always try to figure out what we're going to do for a topic for our weekly little thing here, and God gave me the power of the tongue, because that's something that's important, and we can relate it to you. We're not preachers by any means, but we can kind of give you insight into how it's affected our lives, or the revelations that we've come to, and then pass that along, because some people don't think of that right away. So, the first one is, let's see, we got Mathew 12, 36 and 37, and unfortunately, I left my glasses in the kitchen, and I don't have a large print Bible with me. But Mathew 12:36 says, "But I say unto you, that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account therefore in the day of judgment. For by thy word thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned." And that's the King James Version. The Amplified is, "But I tell you, on the day of judgment, men will have to give account for every idle word they speak. For by your words you will be justified and acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned and sentenced." Basically, your words will either set you free or condemn you. That's the short of it. If I wasn't busy trying to do other things, I'd have gone into that one a little bit more. But that was one of the ones that jumped out with me, especially 37. Basically, it's saying that you're going to be either acquitted or condemned by your words. So you can take that for what it is, because it's all black and white in the Bible, except where Jesus is speaking, then it's red. But yeah, that's where my helpmate would come in handy. But basically, if your word is good and you're told to it, and then what were some of the other ones? I wrote down, I put a note next to Ephesians 4:29, so maybe we'll turn to that one. And if I wasn't recording this on my phone, I could go a lot faster, but you know, we're slow with the technology. We're believing for some other stuff, and I do have Tristan's camera in here, but I don't know how it works. So, and he's off doing what he's got to do. So, I'm filming it on my phone because we were going to do both. See which one came out a little bit better, if the sound was better, if it took less time to upload. You know, stuff like that. But he isn't here, so we're filming it on my phone. Alright, so Ephesians 4:29 in the Amplified says, "Let no foul or polluting language, nor evil word, nor unwholesome or worthless talk ever come out of your mouth, but only such as is good and beneficial to the spiritual progress of others, as is fitting to the need and the occasion, that it may be a blessing and give grace to those who hear it." Basically, again, your words speak volumes about who you are, and that one's basically saying, if it doesn't give God the glory, probably shouldn't be saying it. Or if it doesn't uplift somebody else, if you're putting somebody down, you probably ought to just keep your mouth shut. And again, that's a tough one, especially in work situations, or you know, you got to deal with that co-worker who doesn't pull his own weight or is in a position he doesn't deserve, he or she, and you speak badly about them, even though sometimes it's the truth. My wife tells me all the time that the truth hurts, or be nice, and it's like, I only speak the truth. So basically, if they're not doing a good job or they mess up and you let them know about it in a more crude manner, instead of trying to be nice or just going, hey, you messed up, but you let them have it because it's probably the 5th or 6th time that this person has made the same mistake, and you've gone in and corrected them or showed them how to do it, and they're still doing it wrong. You can lose your cool, you know, just repent and ask forgiveness and move on. Don't dwell on it. And Lord knows I'm guilty of that. Some of my coworkers will tell you that outside of, you know, if you mess up, I'm going to let you know about it, and I'm going to ride you hard about it until you do it the right way. And I wasn't always very nice about it. So, but we just try to move on and try to be the bigger and the better person. And it's not always easy. But your words have power. So try to use them for good, not evil. What else did I have in here? There's a whole bunch of them from Proverbs. See, I read the one in Mathew. I wrote down Luke 6:45, but I didn't put it in my second set of notes, so I may not have liked, or that one may not have kind of pertained to what I was trying to talk about here. Let's see. See if I can find Proverbs in here. Then you'll have to bear with me because I'm kind of slow. So I'll kind of look at them as I find them and see if it's something that I can, if I wrote it down for a reason or if I was just writing it down to write it down. Alright, so I wrote down, we got Proverbs 10, 31 and 32. The mouth of the just bringeth forth wisdom, but the froward tongue shall be cut out. The lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked speaketh frowardness. I don't know, I didn't ever do good in English, so we'll read the Amplified and see if that one makes more sense. Alright, so we got the mouths of the righteous, those harmonious with God, bring forth skillful and godly wisdom. But the perverse tongue shall be cut out like a barren and rotten tree. The lips of the uncompromisingly righteous know and therefore utter what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked knows and therefore speaks only what is abstinently willful and contrary. So you want to be able to speak good words, otherwise they're going to cut your tongue out. You know, and don't take this, I'm not a scholar of theology or anything like that. I just felt that this was something that was important to put out there. And like I said, I didn't research a lot of these or go into them more and see what else was in there. These are just the ones that I liked. And again, I'll put them in there in the description so that you can look them up yourself and you can dive into them a little bit more. Because some of these are pretty good. I'm sure if you dove into that one or read what was before it, or, you know, a lot of times when I get verses that I catch off of, you know, other people's podcasts or even the daily devotional thing I do, I'll go and read the whole chapter. Because a lot of times just pulling, you know, 2 verses out of a chapter, you're not going to get the whole meaning of it. So if you want, you can go back and read the whole chapter 10 maybe. It'll give you a little bit more insight. Like I said, you get a lot of good stuff out of Proverbs. That's where 90% of these came from. There was only 4 that weren't in Proverbs out of the 22. So what's that tell you? Proverbs is giving you the map on how to live. Let's see what else we got. Like I said, I don't read so good. especially when the print is small. All right, so this was a good one. It came up just basically was Proverbs 12, verse 18. There are those who speak rashly, like the piercing of a sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. But I went back and I read, both a couple of verses either side of that. So my notes say 17 through 19. So that it kind of gives you a pre to what it is, usually, and then a post one. But that's a good one. So basically, if you speak rashly, those words pierce people, that whole saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That words, unless you're, a weak human like some of the people now where they need their safe space to go hide from the world, words do have the ability to hurt you. Not, maybe not in a physical sense, unless somebody hits you with a Bible or a dictionary or any type of book, then, words will hurt you. But some of those words can pierce your being or your soul, your inner man. Basically, if somebody tells you you're, the scum of the earth, or other good words that we won't utter on here for just because. But if somebody puts you down, and if you have more than one feeling, those type of words can hurt you. And it's not like what they do today, where it's like, oh, you misgendered me, so those words hurt me, or you did this or did that, and those words hurt me. These are the words, I'm trying to think of the right words to say, but those are the words that put you down and make you feel bad. And not like I said, like the fruitcakes today who need to get a safe space because you said that they, you made fun of their clothes or whatever, or you didn't speak to them in the right way, or go along with their charade or their pretend world that they live in. Most of us, we have some sort of feelings. Me, I have hunger. Hunger is a feeling, and pretty hard to hurt that feeling. So, unless I'm hungry or hangry. Hangry is a thing. For those of you out there, you know what I'm talking about. But a lot of times I tell people that, they may say stuff to me or try to make fun of me or put me down for whatever reason, because people are like that, or just messing around. And it's like, I only have one feeling: hunger. And when you say that to people, especially if you're joking around or you're harsh like we were at work, and you tell them you only have one feeling, hunger, they kind of look at you funny. And most people have feelings. Feelings get hurt, but they're feelings. I don't know where I was going with that, but suck it up, buttercup, move on. Let's see what else I got here. See if this one's worthy. So that one you can read on your own. That one would, you got to read more than just the 2 verses I wrote down on that one. So that one's Proverbs 13. You start right at the first one. That's actually, there's a lot of good stuff in Proverbs 13. So I will definitely put that one in the comments. Oh, what else did I write down? Maybe I need to write down better notes. Looks like Proverbs 15 was a good one to oh, I should have really circled the one I really wanted to just not well prepared tonight, or this is the first time I wrote down notes and I'm not doing well. So then we got Proverbs 17, 27 and 28. He who has knowledge spares his words, and a man of understanding has a cool spirit. And then 28, even a fool, when he holds his peace, is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is esteemed a man of understanding. So that one's basically saying even a fool who keeps his mouth shut sometimes can be considered a wise man. You know, there's that whole, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. That could be part of that. And also, if you're one of those people who likes to listen to other people's conversations and then drop your 2 cents, a lot of times people are going to look at you like you're a moron, especially if you have no clue. You're just one of those people that likes to be in the conversation or butt in because you think you know everything. So even people like that, if you keep your mouth shut, people will think you're wise. Because you don't always have to be the smartest person or have all the answers to be wise. Sometimes not saying anything at all puts you at the top of the list. You know, you can be a smart person by keeping your mouth shut in certain situations, especially if you don't have all the information. There's been times where we probably should have kept our mouths shut, but you live and you learn. Especially if you don't have all of the information you need to make a good comment, we'll say. That's probably not the right word, but we'll go with that. If you don't have all the information to be in a conversation and give your 2 cents, probably best you keep out of it, because they'll think you're a smarter person for not being in that conversation than if you open your mouth and say something dumb. So the other one I have written down here is chapter 18, verses 20 and 21. So, what I really wanted to base everything off of was 21, is death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Again, your tongue has power, whether you're using it for good or evil, or life or death. You know, saying, oh, like I said before, this job's going to kill me. You keep proclaiming that, eventually it will, whether it be stress or whatever. So, that's a good one. That'll probably be my title. But, yeah, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So whether you are speaking good things over yourself or people, or bad things over yourself or other people, you have to be careful. Because your words do, once you put it out there, you can't take those words and shove them back into your mouth to say, oop. It's not like if you're typing something out and you can come back to it later and delete that sentence because, you know, you'll get fired for that, or, you know, you'll end up down in HR or, you know, in the manager's office. So you have to think of those things. There is no delete button or rewind with your words. Once you speak them, they're out there. And not only that, the devil can use those words. Just as much as God can use those words, the devil can use them too. So you got to be careful with that. You know, speak good things over your kids. Don't say, oh, this you horrible little bastard or whatever. You know, because eventually they're going to become that horrible little bastard or whatever. So you want to speak, oh, you're, you know, good kids, stuff like that. You know, you're going to be a good student. You're going to be, you know, this or that. Don't speak that negativity into your kids or your anything for that matter, you know. What else? I mean, Jesus cursed that fig tree because it didn't have any fruit. And then when they came back through, it was dead. Those are words spoken. You know, you can speak to things. Speak to your circumstances. That's something that just, thank you, that was Holy Spirit there, you know. Speak to your circumstances. You know, if you're having a hard time, speak to it. Don't just muddle in your, you know, self-pity. Speak life over it. If you're going through a hard time, just speak life into that hard time. You can say things like, God, this is going to get better. I know you have better for me. This is just a bump in the road. Things like that. Don't wallow in it and say, oh, my life is horrible. See what else? Where was I going with that? You know, I really hate my job. I'm never going to go anywhere. My life is horrible. Don't speak that stuff into existence. And again, this isn't name it and claim it. That's something that's a hard one. So this isn't that. This is what you want, you speak into your life or speak into other people's lives. You know, you can say, and don't just say things to say them like I love my job, I love my wife, stuff like that. Don't just say those things or happy wife, happy life. Yeah, that would have been a better one if somebody else, if Billy Sue had wanted to do this one. But with her infusion treatment, she doesn't feel as great. She's doing better. each time she gets an infusion, it's not as bad and the effects aren't as long, but she didn't want to do this because she didn't feel she could add anything to it. But she could have. Like, she could have been the brunt of that joke. But anyway, yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else. And again, I'll put the verses that I looked at or decided not to read in the things. And Proverbs is a really good book to read out of the Bible. There's a lot of stuff on how to live in there. And there's good stuff in there, no matter what version you read it from. But yeah, the main one I wanted to go off of was death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they who indulge in it shall eat the fruit of it, for death or life. And then it references Mathew 12:37. I'll let you turn to that one, because, well, I can turn there, I guess. See what that one says. Did I read that one? Yeah, I already did that one. Or at least I read Matthew. Yeah, I read that one. So we're on the right path without even trying. So 12:37, for by your words you will be justified and acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned and sentenced. So right there, that gives you, the tongue has the power of life and death. So be careful how you wield that. I can't think of the verse, but I think it has something to do with your tongue is sharper than any two-edged sword. But I'll look that one up, and then I'll put that in the description too, because that's a good one. So your words matter. What you speak and how you speak it are very important. This probably isn't going to be the greatest video, but it gets the point across. I'm getting some notifications on my phone. But anyway, yeah, speak good things. If you want, speak what you want over your life. If you want prosperity, speak prosperity. Find prosperity in here. There's plenty of it. Look in the concordance. If you got the Bible app on your phone, type in what you're looking for in that. You can type just about anything into that search bar and it'll kick out verses that go along with it. And, you know, whatever you're looking for, prosperity, healing, speak it into your life. Don't just wallow in it. Don't wallow in your sickness and disease. Don't wallow in, if you're not, yeah, that one faded quick. If you're down in the dumps, don't wallow there. Speak it, speak to it. You know, you can speak whatever you want over your life. If you want to die, speak that. If you want to live, speak that. You know? But your words have meaning. Use them. You know? There's the words you can use for good, or words you can use for evil. It says that, and basically either your words are gonna get you acquitted or condemned. That's basically the gist of Matthew 12:37. You're either going to be acquitted of your crimes or condemned or you're going to be acquitted or condemned. You know? So use your words wisely. And Speak good things over your life. Speak good things over other people's lives. Even if you don't like them or get along with them. You don't want bad things to happen to them, and unless you really don't like them, but still that ain't right. So, and share that. You can share this with other people. Share this video. I said a lot, so that'll be the key word. Maybe that should be the title. But your words have power, and more power than a lot of people think. And don't this is where I need to edit my videos, so you can edit out these parts where I'm having a brain fade or can't complete my own sentences. But your words have power. Once you speak them, they're out there. Like I said, you can't delete them or shove them back in your mouth and wish you'd never said them. So if you're going to speak stuff out. Make sure you're educated about what you're talking about. I didn't go in depth into a lot of what these verses mean or what I think they mean because I didn't study them that good. I just put it out there. And Billy Sue and I are by no means preachers, but we can give you real life experience. And like I said, you can always, like we say most of our videos, if you got questions, you can message us either on Facebook, or some of you actually have our phone number, so you can text us or call us and we can kind of give you, an idea, or we can expound on some of the examples we gave that might be embarrassing to other parties, or that, I don't really need to go out into too much, but speak to it. That's what you got to do. Speak to your situations. Speak what you want. Speak what you want, because God covers all your needs. I think that's about it. Probably not the greatest video out there, not a lot of funny things to go off of, but when you're here by yourself, you don't have anybody to bounce off of for comedic relief. But I will put these in there, and just remember that your words are powerful. They're a weapon. Be careful how you wield that weapon, because your words can be good. Your words can lift people up, or they can tear them down. And not only other people, but your words can tear yourself down too. Don't get into where you're, self-condemning or condemning yourself. So, your words have power. Life and death is in the word. So, with that, I guess we're done here. So, thanks for watching. Our friends and family back east, new friends and family we've met here. And remember to like and subscribe and share. Tell your friends about us. Tell your stalkers. And that's it for tonight. Maybe in the next couple days I'll get a video up of what Tristan and I were able to get done over the weekend. But that'll be just a short one of me wandering around with the phone. So, until next time, we love you all. Take care. Don't take care. That's a horrible line. So, we love you. Until next time. Bye.